All right, it's take two.
Take two.
So we started one video.
We had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi decided it just didn't want to. Why? Why Wi-Fi?
Why? So please, if you had come into the last video, please find us again and come into this video.
Yes, we hope that those who were in the last one will find us on this one, right?
That's right.
It's in the same space. So we're going to repeat a couple of those things quick because we want to make sure that the video, especially the one that people watch on the replay, is complete.
That's right.
So the first thing we want to say is that last week we did a whole session, almost a half an hour, about complementarity. And we failed to say, get the book, right? Complementarity, Thoughts for African Warrior Couples by Baba Baruti.
That's right.
And so I put a picture of it and the link to it. I had a person on Amazon, but I think you can buy it directly from them as well.
Yes, you can.
I think you can buy it directly from them. I put the link to that in the description of the previous video.
And them means Anaya and Baba Baruti, and they, travel, and they're in Atlanta. They also travel outside of Atlanta, and they did.
And there's a complimentary book. There's a complimentary book to complement, or there's a companion. No, it's a companion book to complementarity called Complementary Notes, I think now.
That's right.
As well.
And they have DVDs and things of that nature.
So we wanted to mention that because we did the whole, and we didn't mention. Then as soon as I ended the live video, I was like, oh no, we didn't say it. So there's that. The other thing that we have to tell y'all before we get into it is that we are not licensed therapists.
We're not.
Right? Instead, we are coaches who have been trained and certified by our elders.
I was certified by iEducational Institute as a Warrior Healer Builder facilitator in their Warrior Healer Builder technology.
Mm-hmm. And I was trained by Queen Afua and certified as a sacred wound practitioner and wellness coach. And so that's a perspective that we bring for y'all, right? And we really encourage you to, our elders have so much wisdom. They have so much wisdom, so much to give us. And so we encourage everyone to, pick an elder.
Right. Even if you've read a book, even if you've seen a video, there's so much more that you can get to complete the education that you've got from them already, if it's someone who has books out and videos out and education out, and just to pick someone who you can, study with and study by. It's really important so that you become an expert on us. You get people who have competent authority, so to speak, on us, on our culture, on our community, on our paradigms, on our ways of thinking, and that you then become a master in that yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and that's necessary not only for maintaining yourself and your relationships, and also our people.
That's right. So let's get right into it. It is, if it's broken, use tools to fix it.
If it's broken, use tools to fix it.
And so it's interesting and fantastic because we planned this a few weeks ago, right? That we are doing this week because we're kind of going through it. Do you know what I'm saying? We're kind of going through a little bit. Since about Friday, we're kind of going through it. If you saw our complementarity video, we talked about the time it takes to get on the same page and to talk things through. And we've been spending lots of time
talking,
trying to get on the same page. Exactly. Not quite there yet. Not quite where we would like to be, and still working at it. And we're confident that we'll get there because at least three things, right? One, we are committed to getting there, right? Or at least committed to working really, really hard, right? Giving up is way, can't even see it down the road, right? So we're committed to working hard to get there. Two, we have tools that we have practiced.
Right, tools that we become skilled at.
Right, tools that we have become skilled at, we practice, become skilled at, and we're pretty good at, right? To use to help us to get there, right? And three, we have elders that we talked about before, and also contemporaries who will support us in using those tools, right?
So we have a relationship with the elders and the contemporaries such that, we're not only, they're accountable to us, we're accountable to them. And so we have support in our relationships. It's important to be able to go to people it's important to be able to go to your spouse. It's also important to be able to go to people outside of your relationship for support, especially when you're trying to support the health of your relationship. And so another thing we have that is about the tools specifically is the tools are in the context of our culture. It's about us. So they're not just, tools that we learned that, well, I'm not going to say that, but they're tools that we learned from our people.
Mm-hmm. And so that's one, just say the sort of space we're in, right? So it might feel a little bit different than it did last week, right? And also what we want to do really is to give you all some of the sort of a glimpse at some of the tools that are in heavy rotation for us right now, right? What are we using? What are we doing to sort of, that's going to help us get on the same page, help us get through this rough patch, help us get to the other side of it. And help us get to the other side of it, knowing each other better, understanding each other better, actually having a stronger relationship as a result of the problem we've encountered as opposed to the opposite, right?
That's right.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like we were saying before we came on, we're beefing a little bit.
What you said, low-key beefing.
Yeah, I said we're low-key beefing.
Low-key beefing.
And then I said, I was mixing up, you know what I'm saying, the old slang and the new slang. We're low-key we're beefing.
Right, and that's part of it. You're going to beef over some things. And, recognizing when you have some issues with another person and knowing that you have, tools that you become skilled at to help you maneuver through that, it gives you a more peaceful feeling.
That's right.
When you're inside of the rough patches.
Right. Because I know for sure that not only will we get to the other side of it, we actually will have a stronger relationship on the other side of it because of the path that we will use to get to the other side of it, right?
That's right.
We will use tools that will not only help us to get on the other side, but help us to be a stronger couple when we get there, right? So we wanted to just sort of mention some of those. We can't like go all super deep because a lot of them, to learn them, you need that interaction, do you know what I'm saying, to really practice and that sort of thing. But we wanted to sort of give you highlights.
That's right. So one of the tools that we use is primarily about emotional authenticity. And I'm not talking about me saying that there are some emotions I have that I'm not aware of and then, and then becoming aware of those emotions. What I'm talking about is a little more scripted, it's a little more programmed. And so there are emotions that I may actually be feeling. If, for example, I may be feeling, there may be emotions that I'm feeling and they're not, I can feel it, so I think it's real, and they're not real. I'm actually feeling an alternative emotion. And I'll give you an example of that. So it's part of our weekend low-key beef. And my wife and I were having a conversation.
It's high-key at some moments.
High-key.
Go
so we're sitting in the bedroom trying to explain something to her. And I explain. And then she asks me a couple of clarifying questions. And the next thing I know, I'm standing up, huffing and puffing, and rolling out of the door, feeling mad, except that there's been no violation on her part. She didn't do anything to me. So that gives me a chance, once I'm out of the door, to reflect on that. And I realize that, I'm not really feeling the mad I thought I was. I'm feeling some other emotions, mostly sad and a little bit scared, or maybe a lot of it scared.
She doesn't understand what I'm saying. You guess it, right?
That's right.
She's never gonna understand. We're never gonna get on the same page.
That's right.
If she's asking that question, then now she doesn't. It's never. Oh my goodness, right? So in figuring that out, the tools. There's a process in which we go about figuring that out, and I won't, explain it in detail the whole thing here. But essentially, you come to understand what emotions mean and the messages that they give, and as you listen to them, and then you go through the processes that the tools provide, you come to a clear picture, a more authentic picture of what emotions you're actually feeling, and you can address them. And so that's what we have. What we have an opportunity to do now, because we had that conversation a couple of days ago now, Had that conversation, yeah, yesterday, maybe yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Okay, so.
And then you're getting to your actual emotions and addressing those means we have the opportunity to then revisit that, right? We haven't gotten back to that quite yet. We have the opportunity to revisit that and start right from there is what we'll likely do.
That's right.
I would ask my clarifying questions, right? And now, Baku having gotten clear about his real emotions are, doesn't have to huff and puff and go out of the room. Now, we might be able to answer the clarifying questions, and we can have and that's going to get us one step closer to getting on the same page.
That's right, to getting the understanding that I was trying to give initially.
So that is that process, right? And you can see that that's something that we need practice, right? Practice identifying emotions, all those sorts of things. Practicing, we've been practicing that process and the steps to that, and how to get to your authentic emotions for 7, 8 years, now.
So.
And so it's available to us when we need it, right? And even when it's not immediate, do you know what I'm saying? Right? It's a little bit of a hiccup. We can still get there. The other thing, so that's one of them. That's one of the tools. That's one of the tools that's been in heavy rotation, right? Really paying attention to our feelings and really checking to see if we are, if they're authentic, if the ones that we think we're feeling are really the authentic ones. The other one is really taking care of ourselves physically, right? With food and that sort of thing.
That's right.
And that, from a Sacred Woman perspective, would be sacred foods, the gateway of top earth. So that Saturday that we spent tons and tons and tons of time in discussion, we didn't eat. Right? We didn't eat. We ate once. I ate once. And then, as conversation kind of fell apart, I was kind of in the bedroom, kind of having an attitude. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't eat anymore, right? And so that whole day, I really only ate like once. And it wasn't even that sort of healthy a thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so how prepared am I then to communicate, to understand, to explain? Not very. Right? And so in recognizing that, Baku goes to get me a sundae. So when Sunday goes to get me, like a smoothie, like a real smoothie.
Right. When I get food for you, and I came back with a smoothie from Wadada.
Right. Smoothie from shout out to Wadada. RDA, deliciousness.
Exactly.
You want it. All right. So, and as I was drinking it, I could feel halfway through, I could feel myself, like even just breathing better, right? Getting more oxygen. By the time it was done, I felt so much better, right? And so today, I sort of, I appreciate your help and sort of noticing I'd fallen off on that. And today I was really much more conscious, right, about eating well, drinking plenty of water, to keep taking care of ourselves, right, so that we could do our best in terms of communicating with each other, right, in terms of doing these things. And we actually have really, because we have sort of faith in these tools, because we have the idea that we're going to get through it, right? We've spent the whole day together, right? Okay, so on the one hand, we're beefing. On the other hand, we spent the whole day together coaching couples with their issues, right?
That's right.
Literally all day. So, and that's only a result of us having practiced these tools, worked through these things, and having faith in them, and knowing that though we're not there yet, right? Though if you ask us right now, and then we're like, nah, because she's tripping about this, okay, we're gonna get there.
That's right.
Right? We're gonna get there.
And it's when you spend as much time as I do with Evelyn, and when many of the things that we do are connected to each other.
That's right.
We live a very intertwined life. The faster you can get back on the same page, the faster you can resolve conflicts. And not just faster, the more fully, the more completely you can resolve these conflicts. And the faster you can get back to work and begin doing the work of loving each other and maintaining your family and loving on other people in the community like we do with the counseling. Mm-hmm. And so it's really a helpful thing to find some folks who have and are using some tools that you can then learn and become skilled at and use for yourself.
And the thing I want to say, I agree with you that the faster we get through it is better.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that, I mean, just because why, you want to get to the end as soon as you can. And also, there are pieces about the tools that we use and that we teach that help us to do the work even when you're not there yet. Like we're talking about today,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing work together all day and, with couples and stuff, even though we're not there.
That's right.
And that is
because you can put it on the shelf.
You can put it on the shelf because you know that you're gonna get to it, right? And you have confidence in your ability to get to it. And we have confidence in it because we practice them. So that's sort of, when couples come to us, one thing that I say to them is, listen, you're gonna get homework.
That's right.
Right? Like we're not just gonna come and we're gonna talk and then, right? You can get homework. There gonna be things that you have to practice. And that's so that you can get to this sort of point. I'm looking at my notes to see. Oh, thank you. Those were some two tools that are in heavy rotation, right?
That's right.
And as we were looking at, there is another one. It's like beyond in heavy rotation. It's like always playing. It's always there, right? We never ever let go of it. Even when we don't eat, we don't let go of it. Even when we don't sleep, we don't let go of it. Even when we are really not mad, but somebody's yelling or something, we're displaying emotions that aren't weird, we don't let go of it. And that's the idea that we say on the doings, right? We stay on what people are, what we don't.
We focus on behavior.
Yeah. Babu might say that I spent all day Saturday saying what I didn't like about what he did, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He could say that. He could be his characterization of the conversation, right? Yeah. But not once did I say I didn't like him.
That's right.
Right? And the same thing, not once did he say he didn't like me, right? That we have made a commitment to not attack each other in that way. And so much so that even if somebody thinks that the other one has done it, and this is one that sort of, that we can give in this moment, you know what I'm saying? We can explain for the most part, right? And give you at least the basics of it even in this format, is to not attack your partner as who they are.
Not to attack their being, their essence.
Right. So I may not like what you did, and I might tell you about how I don't like what you did every which way around, right? And that's different from not liking you.
That's right.
And it's so important that even if somebody hears, are you saying that I'm stupid? Right, everything stops. Everything else is far less important than clearing that up, right? That is not what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm
right.
not saying that I think that you're not thinking clearly. That's not what I'm saying. And then we can go back, because that making sure that you're not attacking their essence and making sure that people aren't hearing them, their essence being attacked is of supreme utmost importance.
That's right. That's right.
So that's that one. That is that.
I think we're still on to use tools to fix it.
Yes, if it's broken, use tools to fix it, right?
So I thought I wanted to explain sometimes what we mean by broken. I don't want to have people floundering about broken. I'm not actually going to define it completely myself. When you're out online, you hear people sometimes talking about broken, and what they're referring to is the relationship that they had, the marriage relationship has ceased to exist. They may be divorced. For some people, that's separated. And either way, they're talking about the marriage is no longer like a marriage. That could be some people's broken. Other people's broken, it's more like, wow, we're having some communication difficulties. Some people's broken is, I found myself crying for hours last night. Some people's broken. Is
the kids are kind of falling apart and acting up,
right? Kids are falling apart and acting up, and so many times that's in general that's a feeling scared about the future. But as far as broken is concerned, all those things are broken, and we encourage you to define broken for yourself, not only define it for yourself and share it with your spouse when you're having those thoughts. When you're having those thoughts about my marriage being broken, so that you can have a starting point to then begin to heal that, to fix that. There's an old poem. It's Humpty Dumpty. All the king's horses and all the king's men, couldn't put Humpty together again. And what we like to tell people is that we encourage you to look at it in terms of, if you have the right technology, if you have the right tools, then yes, you can put Humpty Dumpty back together again. In its small fragments, even if they're dust, if you have the right technology, you have the right tools, you can put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Broken relationships can be fixed. Broken communication can be mended. All these things can be healed. And it may take different amounts of time and different amounts of energy and support along the way, and they can be healed.
And it's just a matter of finding those technologies, right? Learning those technologies, and also deciding whether or not you want to put the capacity, time, energy into it, right? Yes. It's one thing if the Humpty Dumpty is just cracked in two, right? It's another thing, like Bob was saying, if it's dust, right?
That's
dust
right.
is going to take more advanced technologies, maybe, right? And more time and capacity. And one of the things about tools that we use, it helps you to decide. One, are you, do you want to spend that capacity, right?
Right.
And also how to build. Say it's dust. How am I going to get the time and capacity to do that? How to build the capacity to do those sorts of things.
That's right. Capacity is renewable.
Right.
It can be rebuilt, and then you can start back again fresh and anew and put as much time, energy, or even more, because you can build capacity past your previous capacity level.
That's right.
And
That's right.
you can put even more back.
That's right.
You can
That's right.
expand your capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to need to learn how to do these things if we're going to accomplish the things we want in life, whether it's maintaining and building and maintaining marriages, whether it's building and maintaining businesses or organizations, or even more for our people.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point, that these the tools that we work they work certainly for this sort of relationship, and they really work in all kinds of relationships.
That's right.
Right, all kinds of relationships, all kinds of settings. They're valuable.
Absolutely, they've been extremely valuable for me. I mean, there was a time where, I was scared about whether or not I'd be able to maintain my relationship with my wife. And for me, having a tool set and getting support from folks helped me gain not only the skill I needed, helped me increase the capacity I had to actually maintain and then go far beyond, the things I had expected in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm loving it. So even though we low-key beefing.
And it'd be true. I mean, these, one of the things about, so we've both been working these Warrior Healer Builder tools for, like I said, 7-8 years, something like that.
Right.
Bob was taking the extra step to become a facilitator, right, in that. And we both know them, right? We both work them. We both work the Sacred Woman tools, right? This is a part of this is how we live our life, right? I am certified in it, and Bob, you know what I'm saying? So we work those things. We work those in together. We've been doing Sacred Woman like 2-3 years.
That's right.
And so, what am I trying to say? I told you we're tired, y'all. We're trying to
say it's a complementary.
Yes, it's a complementary tool set, and we can use one to build capacity to the other, use the other to build capacity to the one. And so it's really, working those two things together has been really wonderful for us, and it has worked well for a couple that we work with.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So any school building, any book writing, any class teaching that I've done in the last few number of years, I can directly relate to the skills that I've built, the tools I learned, the skills I've built, and not to discount myself, the time and energy that I put in,
the effort to
make it happen.
That's right. That may be all we have, y'all. like we said,
Now,
you
we
know,
got a lot more, but we got
for tonight.
for tonight. That's
Yes, that's what you said. That's
I
what
said
you
that.
said. Because I mean for tonight. We may revisit this, right? We might revisit this another day that we have a little more capacity.
I gladly. I
Right?
would gladly.
Like I said, we have been doing our work, and at the same time, we have been helping other couples with their work all day long.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. We didn't want to leave y'all hanging, right? We said we'd be here 9 o'clock, so we definitely wanted to come and give you something. And we might revisit this topic at a time we have a little bit more to give you some more, right? Before then, if you want to talk about some of these things directly, do you know what I'm saying, with us, you can contact us for a session, right? So you can call me at 404-964-8942. I'm going to say that again, 404-964-8942. Because I know as people share, sometimes the description doesn't go along with all the shares, right? You can also email us at info@kibolebole.com. That's info@KIBOLEBOLE. info@kibolebole.com. And we can set up a time, right? And we can look at these things much more deeply, right? What does it mean for, what do you mean you're feeling the emotion, but that actually isn't the emotion, right? That's a whole conversation, right?
That's right.
It's more than one conversation, really. And then how do you get from the one that you think that you're feeling to the one that's actually the right one? And then once you get to the right one, what you going to do, right? Now that you've gotten that information. That's several conversations, right? What kinds of foods, herbs, I'm just picking up the ones we talked about, what kinds of foods, herbs, supplements, sort of things can support your having capacity to then do this work around getting to your right emotion? See how I did that, with how they go together like that? Those are our conversations that we can have specifically tailored for you, if you like.
Excellent. What she said.
All right, y'all. Have a fabulous night. If you didn't see the complementarity one, the link to that, I think, is it? Yep, the link to that is in the description of this one, right? Take the confusion out of complementarity. And we'll see you next Monday for Don't Let Disney Destroy Your Marriage, right? Don't Let Disney Destroy Your Marriage is coming up next Monday. See y'all then.
See you then.